Hey, Top Fan Rivalry followers, it's Thursday night, and guess what that means? That means that Jackson and Bill are up to it again, and just doing a little weekly review for you. It's a lot to talk about in the world of baseball, right? And so, Jackson, how are we doing tonight? How's life treating you?
Doing all right. Got a new setup. I don't have my headphones tonight, so I'm a little echoey. I'm in a new room. I don't know how the acoustic
You
sound. Hopefully,
sound
I'm better.
clear. You sound clear, so I like that. That's a step in the right direction, right?
It is.
Um, cool. All right, so Jackson, what do you got for us? Lead us off. Lead us off into the discussion. Where are we going first?
Well, so AAA ballparks, automated ball and strike system, 2023. Is
Yep.
it coming? Probably. Is it going to fix the umpiring problems? Probably not under the new format with the whole pitch challenge system. I think there's a lot of people watch the games on TV. Being an umpire is hard. I think most umpires, if you're in the 95, 96% correct range, you're pretty good. You know, robot umps to me, the whole challenge. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm not a big fan of robot umps in general. Um, I know I've said that like three times in the past 2 minutes, but it, to me, the umpires kind of favoring, a certain strike zone is part of the game. It's part of adjusting, and you know, you watch it on TV and they give you a nice little box, which is a terrible reference. You need to be mindful of how much movement these pitches have, if it crosses the front of the plate or the back of the plate, you know. So it's going to be interesting to see how MLB tries to implement this because if they're going to use it in AAA, they're probably going to use it in the major leagues at some point in the next couple of years, much like the rule changes we're going to see this year with the bases and the pitch clock of all that for the pace of play. So I don't know. I'm starting with the bad news this week. Robot umpires incoming.
I'm not going to debate you on that one. I think part of the game of baseball is the trial and error factor. And when you have robot umpires, I don't like the instant replay, although I've gotten used to it because but it takes the human factor and the human error out of it. And that bothers me. Like, let's just keep that in, please. So I like it. I like where you let off.
I mean, and to kind of piggyback on the whole instant replay thing, everyone thought that was going to fix the problem. It's obviously not. There have been some controversial calls that have been overturned slash not overturned. So, a review system might not even be perfect, for the strike zone, and it's to me, it's just kind of silly, if they have a booth review for, calling guys out at first base and they can't even get that right. How are they going to get balls and strikes right? You know,
Yeah. Well, and honestly, the way that they announced how they're going to do it, and I don't know if this is still the case, but the way they talked about it last season was as a manager, you would have three challenges on balls and strikes. And if you're successful at a challenge, you retain it. If you're not, you don't retain it. And so, imagine an umpire's just off. We won't mention umpires' names here, but Angel Hernandez. Imagine if you got Angel Hernandez by the behind the dish, or again, not mention the names, but CB Buckner behind the dish. I mean, how many times are you going to challenge something in one at bat, right? And that's tough.
and bigger issue.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and going with that, I think it's even a bigger issue. If the umpire calls, let's say he calls two strikes in a row that were balls, and they get challenged and overturned, the umpire starts to get a little frustrated. There's two schools of thought. Either the umpire's not going to care, or some umpires are going to be really upset that people think that they're blind behind the plate.
Mhm.
So it's causing friction where there shouldn't be friction between the umpiring officials and the managers. I just think you go to play the game and there's a quote that people always use on social media is if the official has to decide the game for you, decided the game for you, you didn't play well enough.
Right,
And in most,
right.
in most cases, I agree with that sentiment. So I don't think they're necessary. I just think umpires need to be held more accountable for missing calls. That's all it
Agreed.
is at the end of
Agreed. Agreed. All right. So you let us off with that one. I'm gonna lead us off with Aroldis Chapman sightings, right? And guess where he's going? Did you see?
it. Kansas City.
Yeah, he's going to the Kansas City Royals. So he went from the Yankees, which was almost making the World Series, to the Royals. Okay. The Royals are rebuilding right now, so we'll see how that plays itself out.
Yeah, I mean, this signing's kind of perplexing to me for both sides. Kansas City obviously is trying to flip him at the trade deadline for a prospect.
Mhm.
But I'll counter with this. What if you're paying Aroldis Chapman and he just stinks?
Yeah.
Not only is he detrimental to your clubhouse, as we saw last season, quitting on the Yankees for
Mhm.
having to audition for a bullpen spot, to missing time, getting a new tattoo, to is it really worth signing a guy like that to maybe flip him for a mid-tier prospect at the trade deadline? Probably not. And I mean, for Aroldis Chapman, he lives in Miami. He's going to Kansas City. I don't think he knows how cold Kansas City can get, or how hot it gets in the summer and how different the heat is from Miami. But more power to him that he found. I guess he doesn't have to audition. I guess is his upside. So,
Right.
it's a really really weird baseball move. I saw that one and said, "Huh."
It was an interesting one, but it was not surprising, right?
Yeah.
So they gotta do something. So what do you got for number two?
Number two, I mean, being a Braves fan, this one was on the radar for me. Adam Duvall to the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah,
So
I knew you were bringing that one up.
it, it's kind of sad. Fun fact: his son is actually like his best friend is the Braves mascot. It's really sad to see split up the two peas in the pod. But I think this is a good move for Adam Duvall. I think Fenway is going to be a very advantageous ballpark for him. He loves it in Fenway Park. He has a
Mhm.
3 home run game there. I think if the Red Sox insert him into the lineup correctly, where he gets to hit near those left-handed batters, he shreds left-handed pitching. So he'll be a really nice addition to that lineup. A guy that can just line doubles off the ball, get hit homes. He's a good professional. He stays healthy most of the time. I know he had wrist surgery last year, but before that, he was relatively healthy. You know, having little issues here and there, but mostly on the field. He can play all three outfield positions. So I mean, I like the signing for both sides. It's a very incentive heavy contract, which again, I'm a big fan of incentive heavy contracts because it helps both sides out. So I think that was
Yeah.
a good under the radar move by Boston, just on a 1 year deal.
Well, Boston's been doing a lot of these under the radar moves, with the exception of Rafael Devers. Most of them are under the radar, except Devers and picking up Justin Turner. A lot of the stuff that they've done has kind of been quiet, but good players. Kenley Jensen, right? Justin Turner. You've got some good players over there, so that's good. That's good. All right, you ready for my number two? This one may shock you.
Yeah.
Ashley Stevenson. You know who that is?
No.
She is a she was on the Canadian national team, I believe it was, and now she's going to help coach the single A team for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh.
So you got another female coach, which is fantastic. I think it's great for baseball. But you got another female coach standout. There's an article on it today on the MLB.com site, but I think it's great for baseball, right? You want to let people You want to give people opportunities, and if she knows how to coach and she knows how to play the game, I say let her play, let her coach.
I mean, yeah, and you don't have to play professionally to be good at coaching something. I think a lot of people get hung up on the fact, oh, this person didn't play professional. There's plenty of good coaches out there who never, you know, played in the major leagues or were not very good major league players. To be a good coach, it requires, leadership, players learn how to play the game, requires baseball IQ in baseball's case. So I think it's great for the game because baseball really is for everyone. Doesn't matter who you are. You can play with a ball and a stick, cardboard for a glove. They do it out in Latin America. Baseball's for everyone. Baseball should be an accessible game around the world. And I think it's great for the game and stuff
It
like
is
this
great
happen.
for the game. It is great for the game. And like you said, to manage or to coach, you just need baseball IQ. You need a little bit of an understanding, and you're good to go, right? You don't have to be a first ballot Hall of Famer to be a coach. In fact, those are some of the worst coaches and managers in baseball history, right?
Yeah.
So, it's I'm not going to mention names there because I want to respect the Hall of Famers, but there have been a couple Hall of Famers that have tried their hand at being managers and not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much. So good. Okay. So who do you have as your third? Who do you have as your final?
You know, I feel oddly because at work this week we had someone from the corporate office come and visit, and he was an avid Pittsburgh Pirates fan, and he was a very sad person because nobody talks about his Buccos. So Andrew McCutchen back to the Pittsburgh Pirates. You know, again, this is another low risk deal I like. Is Pittsburgh going to blow the doors off everyone next season? No, but these are deals that give baseball fans hope that Pittsburgh's trying to do something. They're not just trying to. You can accuse them of playing off the nostalgia, just trying to get fans in the seats. It doesn't matter. Getting fans in the seats is important because it helps the team win because it feels like they have backing presence for their young players. I think he still has a little bit left in the tank. He had some speed back last year after knee surgery a couple of years ago. So I really like the signing. I think it'll be good on a young Pirates team that needs some leadership.
Yeah, I agreed. And honestly, I like that move too, not necessarily for the nostalgia aspect. Um, but again, you're now playing all 30 teams, like all other 29 teams, right? And so if you're Pittsburgh and you can take 2 out of 3 from a struggling Oakland team or a struggling Angels team or a Reds team or something like that, you may have a shot to do better than expectation. And now that 28 out of 30 teams make the playoffs, you may actually have a shot to make, I'm being facetious, everybody, but now you may have a shot to make the playoffs. It's a lot of things are weird. A lot of things happen that are weird now with this playing all 29 other teams, right? So you're going to see teams that you wouldn't normally see that, are struggling,
Well,
right?
yeah, and I think to your point, I think the NL Central's weak enough to where I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if the Cardinals stumble out of the gate and don't play well, Milwaukee stumbles out of the gate and doesn't play well, I don't see why with Cincinnati being, I think, worse off than Pittsburgh. I think the Pirates can hang with the Cubs. I know the Cubs have the flashier names, but signing some veteran guys. If their young guys take a couple steps forward, they're gonna have a decent looking lineup. It's the pitching, it's always the pitching with these teams. But if their young pitching can take a step forward, I don't see why the Pirates can't hang around for a while.
Yeah, it's very, very true. And they play in a picturesque ballpark, and they don't have a lot of expectation this year. So it's easy for them to go into Colorado and take 2 out of 3. It's easy for them to go into Detroit and take 2 out of 3, or Minnesota and take 2 out of 3. It's also very easy for them to, with no expectations, go into New York and play the Mets and take 2 out of 3. It just works that way.
How about
No,
going to LA and sweep the Dodgers like they did last year?
nope, not gonna happen. We learned our lesson last year. Hey, 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 gotta get brutal. Huh? Dropping the gloves. I see how you're. Oh, I oughta. Well, all right. So my number 3 one is one that is another signing, and that is Australia is going to the Mariners. I don't know if you saw that. Tommy's going to go to the Mariners on a 1-year deal. Um, again, incentive-laden contract, so I like those. We're starting to see a lot of the people that haven't had contracts yet get contracts now that the big names are out of the way. The issue that we run into now once we get this done is my concern is we've set a certain bar level, and now Juan Soto and Shohei Ohtani next year are going to lead the pack for the sweepstakes and where they're going to sign and everything like that. So, yeah, yeah. I just say let's play ball. I'm glad to see that these guys are getting deals. So, and you as a stats guy are probably looking them up right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, he's been okay the last couple of years for the Giants. I know he's been hurt.
Yeah.
He only played 76 games in 2021, 60 games in 2022. But before then, he had a nice uh, couple of years with the Angels. Played okay for Oakland. You know,
Yep.
he was even decent in Chicago. So I mean, Seattle's one of those. No, if you fancy yourself a playoff contender, you need depth players, and you can have worse bench bats than Tommy La Stella on your roster. That's for sure.
I agree. I agree. I like I like seeing these guys deals come in because spring training is less than a month away. Pitchers and catchers report are less than a month. So it's exciting to see these things happen, right? And to see where these guys are going to play. Don't sleep on Seattle. Seattle is got a shot. They've got a shot. Maybe not to win that division, but they're definitely a playoff contender, right? So definitely a playoff contender.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. I think they're going to be a dangerous team next year.
yep. So Jackson, do you have any honorable mentions or wrap up thoughts?
To everyone on social media saying that Ronald Acuna Jr. should request a trade for not being allowed to play at the World Baseball Classic, go.
Yeah, careful, be nice.
Go okay, I'll be a little nice. People need to understand that Acuna is coming off a major surgery, and the Braves are trying to keep him in check because Ronald has the tendency to go 110%, which isn't a bad thing. It is a bad thing if you want him to play all season. He's going to be a key part of your your aspirations for the next year.
Your aspiration.
So,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
Ronald, I love you, buddy. I'll see you in the next World Baseball Classic when you're healthy and you've got like 250, 300 career home runs, and you're going to be awesome.
We're going to do a podcast episode on the World Baseball Classic, which I will make sure that we have you on for. But we're going to do a podcast episode about that. I have my own personal opinions on that, and we'll save that for that. But we do have the World Baseball Classic coming up, so we'll see how that all plays itself out. Right.
Yeah.
So, all right, top fans, top fan rivalry followers, another weekly review. This is going to be behind the locker room. This will go up tomorrow. I'm excited to have it posted. We'll make sure that we let you know that it's there. Jackson, if they're going to get a cool hat like this one or a t-shirt like that one, where do they, what do they do? Do they have a code that they use? What do they do?
Hop on Top Band, you hop into the shop, and when it says promo code, you should just put code Jax.
Code
Save,
Jackson, all
save
capital letters. Code Jackson.
all capital letters. We'll save you a little bit of cash.
Say a little bit of cash.
I wear this shirt. I wear this shirt everywhere. It's comfortable. It's awesome. I love it. It says "Get Dirty" on the back. Let me flip around.
Woo, get dirty. You got the Get Dirty shirt. Love it, love it. And Jackson, you know what tomorrow is, right? It's Friday when this drops, but you know what tomorrow is, right?
Friday.
So
Tomorrow.
Friday, so Monday we have Merch Monday, right?
Yes.
Tuesday we have Talk to Me Tuesday. Wednesday we have Way Back Wednesday. Thursday we have Throwback Thursday, and Friday we have Free Shipping Friday.
Oh
Free
man,
Shipping Friday.
well, this is perfect. You just
So,
put the code Jackson in, you get save some money, and then you save some more money with the free shipping stacked on top of it. Look at that.
and we just got gray on gray hats, and they're phenomenal. We've got a couple of Giants hat colors left. Those are fun. So free shipping Friday. Take advantage of the code Jackson. So Jackson, I love doing this with you. You're so much fun to talk to. This is good times. This is good times. So Top Fan Rivalry
Yeah,
followers, thank you for listening to
great.
this. I'm sorry, Jackson, go ahead. You cut out there for a second.
I said, yeah, no, yeah, it's great to be on. And I'm ready to be on next week. I'm ready for baseball season to start. Enough of this.
Amen. So
Enough of the playoff football stuff. Super Bowl. What? No, taking the baseball.
there you go. There you go. Well, Jackson, we're gonna do it again next week, right? So, Top Fan Rivalry followers, thank you for following us. Thank you for making comments. Thank you for being awesome. We appreciate you, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon.